So I was going to try the Volantex Ranger 1600 again. Now this has got FPV plane written all over it, and I actually did have it set up. I do have it set up as an FPV plane. As you can sort of see, I've got the well, help if we take the lens cap off this, I guess. I've got a Mobius camera on here in the Quanum Mobius FPV Cradle, and I was experimenting with this a couple of years ago now, and I've got a DALRC and a GPS under there. The problem with that, the DALRC puts an on-screen display on the FPV to try and help you tell where you are, what direction you're pointing, all that sort of thing, and most particularly where you are relative to where you started. Unfortunately, it never worked for that for me because it would never get the GPS lock. So without the GPS, it didn't really display any useful features very much. I mean, displayed an artificial horizon, which wasn't that reliable in any case, wasn't much use, and a bunch of other guff, but it was basically just a bunch of useless information. What would have been useful is if it got a GPS lock and could tell you what direction you were from where you started, and you know, and it's supposed to tell you your latitude and longitude and whatever for them. But it never got a GPS lock, and I tried repeatedly. In fact, I think I tried repeatedly. I think I tried 3 different GPSs with it, if I remember rightly. 2 that were specifically made for the DALRC, and 1 from another brand. And I got it to recognize all of them. It said it had got a GPS. If so long as I set the baud rate right, it said, oh yes, the GPS is present. But it always just said no satellites detected, which is, you know, kind of weird because there is definitely, my glasses are getting a bit misted up now, which is a big worry. You don't want to have trouble seeing when you're trying to fly. Anyway, I'm not going to try and fly FPV whatsoever today. I've not got the DALRC plugged in. What I have done is I've charged the battery on this Mobius, so he should be able to run off his own battery. So we'll put him into 720 pixel mode and we'll start him recording. So that Mobius should be recording now, and he's just being powered. I had an arrangement where I could plug into the balance plug of the battery, the main flight battery, to operate to operate the DALRC and the FPV Cradle, but I haven't got that plugged in now. I'm just running this battery, this Mobius of his own internal battery. I've got these little slides made out of foam and popsicle sticks put on the wings, which is so that I can get him to run over the sun's coming up now. I've got to be careful I don't fly into the sun again. He's a bit nose heavy according to where the CG mountings they've put on it, but I can only imagine that he always was a bit nose heavy because, I don't know, we'll see. It's a fairly big battery I've got in him. I can put a smaller battery in. But other than that, I've got the battery as far back as I can get it. I don't know. Will he run? Will he take off? Will he fly properly with this arrangement? Because it doesn't help that the power itself pushes him downwards. And I think he always did need a bit of a shove to get him started. Whoa. Well, we certainly took all of the runway there, didn't we? I really thought I thought I was maybe pushing it a bit to be still putting power at that point, that maybe I should be cutting power because I was running out of runway. Now, in fairness to the manufacturers and all that, the plane is not really meant to take off the ground. I just prefer to take off the ground to hand launch, although actually it doesn't matter. I could have hand launched him today. I mean, that arrangement was more because, you know, of FPV and things. I can't say, if anything, to me, he feels tail heavy. According to their centre of gravity marking, he's markedly nose heavy. I've got the centre of gravity quite a bit further forward than they say. But he feels, if anything, slightly tail heavy to me, which is a bit odd. So I'm not sure that I really agree with their centre of gravity marking. You know, he does not feel like a nose-heavy plane to me. I mean, I did have trouble taking him off, true. What the heck was that? I don't know, some sort of bird or something. Something moved across to my left. If I cut the power, how well does he actually just glide? Well, not too well. I mean, he does glide. He's safe. I mean, he glides okay. He doesn't lose control when he glides, but yeah, well, maybe that is because he's nose heavy. He does glide down rather notably. Now, this is a big battery, which just for flying him I probably didn't. It's a 3800 milliamp hour 3-cell. I think I was flying in with like about a 3000 before, so it is a rather bigger battery than I was flying before, and I was powering the FPV off it before. Will he loop? Do I even want to try? Well, I sort of do, but I don't know. Not there, I don't think. I think I want to try. I want some altitude, but I also don't want him too far away. It's all a compromise, and the sun's terribly up now, so we definitely don't want to go over where the sun is if we can avoid it. That's how I crashed the Cirrus the other day, by going over where the sun was. We're using, most of the time here, I'm using a fair bit of throttle. See, now I've lost a lot of altitude again.
Time remaining 7 minutes.
I think maybe this battery's a bit heavy for him. I should probably have used a smaller battery. He's not, you know, he's flying a bit sluggishly and all that, and I think a lot of it's because the battery is, you know, he's got a bit too much more weight on between all that FPV stuff, and there you go. Well, he will loop, and he flies nice and smoothly through a loop. But I think he's a bit overweight at the moment, between this heavy battery and still having the FPV gear. Well, not the FPV gear wears me very much, but the battery does. It's a heavy battery. I think that's all I'm going to do with him today. I have no particular intention of flying this guy FPV again. I don't think, not really. Well, you know, if I got someone around, if I got a spotter and someone wanted to have a go, if someone wanted to come out with me, and well, we could take turns being spotter and flyer and whatever, but I definitely need somebody with me to fly this guy FPV. Absolutely, I would not try and fly this guy FPV on my own. You're not supposed to, and I wouldn't. I will actually fly like little microplanes FPV on my own, little tiny microplanes, because they're not going to go anywhere and do anything particularly. They're just flying around the runway basically, and they're so light they're not going to hit anything. Like the basically the Sport Cub S, the little Sport Cub S, and the Champ S Plus. That I've flown those FPV, and I might follow those. But there's something this size, you know, you're supposed to have a spotter, and you should always have a spotter, and there's no way I'm going to do it without a spotter. See, I'm having trouble seeing somewhat now with the sun and the shadows and things. Now, if I got enough runway to land him, yes, I think so. Just about. Now, he's certainly not going to taxi. As I say, he can barely run. Those skids on the wing are just held on by his double-sided tape. Since I basically want them, I wonder if I shouldn't glue them on properly, because they tend to fall off all the time. I bet I've broken one off now. Well, actually broken, they're not breaking really. Yeah, that's one, isn't it? Yes. See, that's one of the skids. And that's pretty typical, because they were just held on by double-sided tape. Oh, both of them have come off, actually. So both of the skids have parted both of the skids have parted company with the wing. And it's the double-sided tape comes off the wing. It doesn't come off the foam, but it comes off the wing.
Throttle cut off. Throttle cut off.
Although at least, you know, it's not so important to have throttle cut with this guy because we might as well stop this guy recording. There you go. Yeah, he's not recording anymore. Wet, of course, that's the other problem with landing, with flying in the morning like this. I was very disappointed I couldn't get that GPS to work, because that would have been a big plus if you could have the on-screen positional information with the on-screen display. But without the positional information, the on-screen display has nothing that's very useful. You can look at the old videos I did of that. But the information displayed was, yeah, had a heading which you couldn't trust, an altitude which wasn't really telling you much, and artificial horizon that was kind of sluggish responding. I mean, it really wasn't telling you anything useful. Now see, the problem is, without the skid, it's tricky to position him so that you're not putting pressure on the horizontal stabilizer. Okay, well there you go anyway. No, let's not damage, those are finger holes, it's meant to be like that. Okay, I'll show you where the battery is, I guess. See, that's the battery, and it is a rather large battery. Just got the little lemon receiver in there, as is usual. That's what I usually do. Anyway, there you go. Just wanted to give him a go in the air again anyway. The Ranger FPV, Ranger 1600, the 1.6 meter version. They make versions of this more or less the same design everywhere, from at least 600 I think is the smallest I've seen, and 2000 is I think the biggest I've seen. This is the one. I wouldn't want it any bigger than this because I can barely get this in the car. That's it's pretty good. It's this is the plastic fuselage, and then the flight surfaces are foam.